I want to call to order this January 16th, 2020 special meeting of the Arcata City Council. If you so choose, please rise and join me for a flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Could I have a roll call, please? Here.
Vice Mayor Patino.
Here.
Councilmember Watson.
Here.
Councilmember Ornelas.
Here.
Councilmember Pereira.
Here.
All present.
First is ceremonial matters. Item A, proclamation designating January 27th through February 2nd, 2020 as Arcata High School Career and College Center Week, to be read by Councilmember Ornelas.
So this is a proclamation designating January 27th to February 2nd, 2020 as Arcata High School Career and College Center Week. Whereas the Arcata High School Career and College Center's mission is to provide students with the information they need to take the critical next steps after high school. The center uses californiacolleges.edu career and college exploration software, individual and group counseling, and an extensive career exploration program to help students identify their interests and evaluate options to pursue those interests after high school. And whereas the center offers unique programs aimed at the special needs of students with different interests and at various grade levels, and provides information for parents and the community, both at the center and through online tools. Over 350 students visit the center annually, including half of the senior class. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Arcata does hereby declare the week of January 27th to February 2nd, 2020 as Arcata High School Career and College Center Week in the City of Arcata. The Council urges the Arcata community to support these efforts by joining local Rotary clubs, local businesses, and families by donating to the AHS CCNC via Arcata's High's website. Donors will be recognized at the 13th Annual Pancake Breakfast fundraiser put on by Rotary clubs and the AHS Culinary Program, Arcata High School Culinary Program, with breakfast tickets supporting culinary program expenses. The Pancake Breakfast will be held on Saturday, February 1st, 2020 from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. in the Arcata High School Fine Arts Building. Dated today, January 16th, 2020, and signed by Mayor Michael Winkler. And we have Caledonia Davy. Is there someone, is she here? Okay, well, we'll make sure. Is there anyone here who wants to pick this up? Okay, well then we'll just make sure it gets over to you, and thank you. And I do really recommend that breakfast. It's a fabulous one, and it's a great program, so thanks.
Next is proclamation recognizing January 2020 as National Mentoring Month, and that will be read by Councilmember Watson.
Whereas this year Big Brothers Big Sisters of the North Coast celebrates 51 years of service to the youth in Humboldt County. Big Brothers Big Sisters of the North Coast recognizes that the future of Humboldt County rests on the success of its youth. And whereas research shows that young people matched with a caring adult through a quality mentoring program are 55% more likely to be enrolled in college, 81% more likely to report participating regularly in extracurricular activities and sports, 78% more likely to volunteer, and twice as likely to say they held a leadership position than those who did not have a mentor. And whereas youth development experts agree that mentoring is critical to the social, emotional, and cognitive development of youth, helping them navigate the path to adulthood more successfully. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Arcata hereby recognizes January 2020 as National Mentoring Month, and thanks all of our local heroes who participate in quality mentoring programs to equip our youth with the tools to lead healthy and productive lives. The City Council also calls on residents to help close the gap between the availability of mentors and the number of children facing challenging circumstances who would love to spend time with the big brother or big sister. Dated today, January 16th, 2020, signed by Mayor Michael Winkler. And do we have Florence Parks and Rebecca Bailey to accept?
too short for this. Thank you. My name is Rebecca, and I'm the president of the board of directors of Big Brothers Big Sisters of the North Coast. And I just want to point out a couple of things, in addition to all the wonderful things the proclamation notes about mentoring, that my day job is in crisis and behavioral services in Eureka. I see a lot of people in their adult life who have had zero trusted adults in their life, and I know that homelessness and issues of substance use disorder is always on the council's mind and the community's mind, and so this is really one of the biggest and easiest ways we can prevent those issues in our community. And if you're wondering what we're in need of to continue this good work in the community and the work that Florence and her team is doing, it's really recruitment of bigs. We have a lot of kids on the wait list waiting for people to come into their lives and enrich their lives more. And Florence is going to tell us a little more about some exciting things we have coming up for National Mentoring Month.
So thank you again. We are so excited about Arcata's commitment to mentoring, not only this year, but throughout the decades that we've been in Humboldt County. In the time we've been in Humboldt County, we've been able to serve over 4,000 youth. And in Arcata, we have our one site-based program operating here at Arcata Elementary. We have a lot of support from Humboldt State also, and a great deal of support from the community. We couldn't do it without you, so we first want to thank you. But currently there are 46 youth that are waiting right now to be mentored throughout our county, and a great majority of those mentees, or littles we like to call them, are here in Arcata or around the surrounding areas. So we really hope that you will join us in celebration of National Mentoring Month when we get a chance to do the proclamations, but we also have opportunities to gather together and support mentoring. In the Capitol on the 14th, the Senate floor supported Big Brothers Big Sisters and also proclamated the state of California for National Mentoring Month. And upcoming, we have our Bowls for Kids' Sake, so you can all join us and create a team and come out and have some fun. This year we have the Enchanted Forest, so there's lots of ways for you to just get involved with us and support the effort. If you do not have the time, which it takes 2 hours a week for 1 year, that's our minimum commitment for the site-based program. It's 1 hour a week after school at the school site for a school year. If you do not have that type of time, you can come alongside us as partners. We do have monthly giving, and we also have an array of events throughout the year where you can come, have fun, volunteer, and enjoy what mentoring has to offer. But most of all, it's the prevention, so that our kids, so we don't see the outcomes that we're seeing later. So we have to do the work today and join like those in leadership have done with us as mentors. We want to also take a moment just to thank you all, and especially former Mayor Brett Watson and now council member. I know you guys cycle, and welcome Michael Winkler as our new mayor. We're happy to work with you too, and looking forward to hopefully having you as a mentor or big with us. But Brett Watson has been a big with us since April of 2018. His little Ethan have gone on a journey for their first year, but they continue to meet and monthly and support each other, and we're excited to just acknowledge your support and your continued commitment to your mentee.
Next is a report, the annual report from the Planning Commission. Do we have a representative, please?
Good evening. My name is Dan Tangney. I'm the chair of the Arcata Planning Commission. I've been on the commission for, 8 or 9 years, and chair for this is my second year as chair. We've had a great year. We're one commission spot vacancy right now, although there are some interested parties. One attended our last meeting and seems like it might be a good candidate. However, if that doesn't work out, we hope anybody listening, anybody here in the audience that's interested might apply for that position. In this last year, we've had a lot of large projects, some controversial projects, a lot of things to think about with state laws that are changing. You've seen the report yourself, but some of the things I wanted to touch on are probably the biggest topic for us is infill, no surprise. From the state on down, we've keep hearing about the new laws. There's some new ADU stuff that just came through that we're excited for the city to digest and give us the cliff notes on, because it's too much for us to understand, but we've touched on it a little bit, and we like to think that it's going to help with the infill in residential neighborhoods with a lot of the ADUs that are potential in our town. And then in terms of the bigger infill strategies, there's a big goal of coming up with a more comprehensive infill plan. We get anxious sitting up there doing project by project and having to deal with neighbors that are really uncomfortable with what might be being built in their neighborhood and all the responses about shading and things that come along with it, and feeling like, boy, we sure wish we had some code or some agreement as a community, larger agreement about infill is going to happen. There's no way to avoid it. We just have to figure out where it belongs and how tall, what it looks like as a community. And the city has started the process of having more and more meetings with likely affected neighborhoods, but there's many more workshop kind of things that need to happen. Just educate the population about these projects are coming. The Arcata Gateway is probably the most likely avenue for some of the bigger ones, and we have only heard of it so far. We have no idea what's ever going to be proposed until it's actually on our packet. But you know, there's the state laws and the way that the housing element ties in now. There's mandates that are very real. This is what's coming from the city to us. And we're trying to recognize that there's no way around these projects, so let's design them and put them in the best places possible. I shouldn't say let's design them, let's respond to the design that's being attempted. Another thing that's going on with the commission is that there's a big goal of trying to increase our level of understanding. We feel technically challenged sometimes, or about these laws and zero net energy. What does that mean? A lot of the transportation stuff that comes up about projects, and we're satisfying code, but how does the project tie in with the bigger picture of Arcata's transportation challenges? Because that keeps coming up, especially with the bigger projects. And there's master plan stuff and money being set aside for future projects to alleviate transportation challenges. Well, we would just like to understand it a little bit better from our end before the projects come to us. So that's that, and sea level rise, how that's going to affect where we build could be a challenge very soon in the future. There's so much to think about when we include those kind of factors as well. So we're really after some trainings. The staff made a lot of notes on. Asked us. We had an informal after meeting at our last commission, off air, offline, where we could just talk about this stuff, and it was really helpful for everybody to air what they feel they need to know more about. And it's exciting stuff. We're all very enthused to learn more. The challenges of trainings out of town include a lot of transportation and hidden costs that would be really unfortunate. So there's perhaps some regional trainings that might happen, sistering us with Eureka or the county or different commissions to be able to be trained together. And we're excited about that idea. I think that's it. The housing element through 2027 has been certified. So are there any questions? Anything from up there?
I have a few comments. Just want to thank you, Dan.
Yeah.
And I just came from an HCOG meeting, and we there, because the governor is, putting kind of fast tracking more housing, and you maybe know more about this than I do, but I know what I learned at the HCOG meeting. There's going to be more regional planning. They just were given some more planning money, and so Una Smith is going to be heading that up.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's some part of me feels like I don't know exactly how the Planning Commission could fit in on that, except for maybe if maybe through community development, whether you keep them abreast of what's going on, or maybe I can even imagine some of you, if it'd be okay, to kind of just sitting in on those meetings, just hearing what people are talking about, because there is going to be so many changes in housing laws right now, and the approach, we're trying to have a little more coordinated approach. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah.
And then I'm really in support of training for the Planning Commission. It's something, I remember talking about that at a goal setting a couple of years ago, and sort of saying it almost seems silly for us to continually go and get trained on, say, complete streets or all these other different things, and then to have the Planning Commission not even quite know what even all these things mean.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely in support of that.
Yeah, it's hard to be dealing with a project and some of the sequence stuff and these things that we are just learning while we're sitting up there. So it would be great. And regionally, we know that we're all facing the same thing, like you just said. Eureka, the county, all the other communities around here, this housing stuff is so real. It's a good time to be approaching it regionally, and for us to all get our heads together about what we need to know to make these big deal decisions. Anything else before I go?
Cynthia?
Yeah, Dan, I'd like to see the regional planning, training, like I think you're asking for. And I don't know if we have it in our goal for this following year, but we are going into goal setting eventually here in the next few months. So it would be something that maybe we could have a goal of that regional training, and maybe we could be the lead to that, to make it happen. So we'll talk about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Dan? A lot of legislation is at least before the state legislature to restrict local control. I don't know if the community development staff has been keeping the Planning Commission apprised of some of the legislation that would went into effect first of this year, or other legislation that's pending that could potentially affect the commission?
Well, like meeting our RENA numbers, and if we don't, there's some very real consequences. We have been hearing that from the staff rather regularly. And it sounds like, with the housing element and the I think it was 610 units in the city of Arcata over how many years? 8 years. That if it's not just zoning for it, it's having the projects completed. And that's a whole new ballgame. It hasn't been that way in the past, as you know from sitting on the commission. And so, it's easy to say no or deny projects or tweak things and take all the neighborhood input, but we have to make sure somehow that this community is attractive to those projects and that they get built. So hopefully with a lot of foresight and a lot of good zoning and good planning ahead of time, so that they're not big and ugly and in the wrong places. It's what we all want, right?
As Vice Mayor Patino mentioned, I think training is important, and I think a lot of that is potentially available through webinars online, so that you don't have to travel.
Yeah.
And I don't know if staff has been keeping you informed of webinars or other training that's been available?
Yes, some, and I think more of that's going to start happening.
Yeah, some we would have to pay for, others would be free.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's important with all the changes that are likely to be occurring in the fairly near future. But thank you for your work on the Planning Commission.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is early oral communication. This 15-minute time period is provided for people to address the council on matters not on the agenda. At the conclusion of all oral communications, the council may respond to statements. Any request that requires council action will be set by the council for a future agenda or referred to staff. Speakers addressing the council at this time will be limited to 2 minutes. All other oral and written communications will be heard at this meeting under agenda item 11. So anybody who would like to speak on an item that is not on the agenda, please come forward.
I think some people have numbers too.
And people should have numbers. All right, go ahead.
Good morning. No, kidding. How are you doing? Thank you for the opportunity to speak, city staff and council members. I also want to congratulate Brett on a job well done. And he's moving on here just as a council member. And Mike, I want to congratulate you on the mayor position, and I'm sure you're going to do just fine. I did send you all an email. Wanted to basically just hand deliver a personal invitation to the February 15th annual crab feed in Eureka. We're going to right around 400 folks are going to be there. A lot of them will be your constituents in this area, so I would encourage you to get your tickets and come. We're actually, Mike McGuire is going to be there. We're going to have a lot of the wind industry there, offshore wind industry, and the fish farm folks. A lot of different folks you can talk to about things possibly going to be happening here in the community. So again, I thank you all for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Number 2.
Hi, my name is Jessica. First, I just want to acknowledge that we are on Wiyot land, stolen Wiyot land. And I came to say his name again for almost 3 years now with no action. David Josiah Lawson. And that was David Josiah Lawson. The things I want to talk about tonight, there are 3 things under this. I was going to say with all due respect, but I can't even say that. We'll start with Mr. Winkler being rotated in by Mr. Watson. And we have not forgotten the letter that he wrote to the mayor, Sophia, and we thank you for your dissenting vote, that called the people that were pro-statue removal, people of color, your constituents, people who vote, that we were acting like a lynch mob. You also lied about the cost of what it was going to be. You spread that around. That was horrible. You are compromising the council with your entanglements with Redwood Energy, and that you are doing the same with Danco, the Danco project. The NAACP wrote the council a very strongly worded letter being very upset, and yet business goes on as normal with the NAACP having serious thoughts about this. And so in the end, we ask for his removal.
Good evening, I'm Carpani Burns. I'd like to express my gratefulness to the Wiyot people for allowing me to live and work on their land. The next thing I would like to address is I'm wondering if the council has received the police foundation report, and if so, when? I have heard nothing about that. I also am extremely alarmed that since the murder of David Josiah Lawson, this community has been fully involved in addressing the racial situation here, racism, working on it, calling it out, trying to do something about it. And this council, interestingly enough, just placed a racist into the mayor's seat, Michael Winkler. I see you as a racist person with racist ideology. Only one of you had the courage and the commitment to write, thought, and act. Thank you, Sophia. We appreciate that you're doing the right thing for this community. I would also like to talk about the NAACP letter that strongly suggested that Michael Winkler be censored. He was not. That sounds like silence is consent. Regarding the cost of the project for the removal of the statue, you said $525,000. It was 3% of that, and that was just spreading lies and fear. I don't feel confident with you
Would you
sitting
please
as mayor.
conclude your remarks?
Yeah, I'm done. I'm leaving.
Good evening. I'm out here as well to speak in regards to the murder of David Josiah Lawson. We're going on 33 months now. We've passed 1,000 days and still there is no justice. There is a lot I could say about the lack of heart, the lack of conscience that the city council has shown. It hurts me. I come here today with no words prepared, but a heart that is heavy. And it hurts me to know that there was a public safety report that has been withheld from your constituents for the last 10 months. You have withheld it. You have lied to the public, saying that there is no public safety report. And I want to apologize on behalf of the public, for I know that there is a lot that they want to have shown and brought forward to the city council, but I will have it known to you that we will not allow business to go on as usual until we see justice for David Josiah Lawson. That we will not allow business to go on as usual until you take your position seriously and actually do what is right for the public, for your constituents. This is an issue of heart and soul. And until the public is safe, there is no other issue. I think the public can agree there is no other issue that matters. If our lives are in jeopardy, the DNA has found Zollner is guilty. His skin was found under David Josiah's fingernails. David Josiah Lawson was pepper sprayed before he was stabbed. There is no reason to believe that Zollner was acting in self-defense. That was a cold-blooded murder. They were acting raciously. Okay? I want it to be known to the public, we will not allow business to go on as usual. We will be down here every week. And we will be speaking. We will be shutting it down until David Josiah Lawson receives justice.
Justice for Josiah.
Justice for Josiah.
Justice for Josiah.
Justice for Josiah. Justice for Josiah.
Justice for Josiah. Justice for Josiah. Justice for Josiah. Justice for Josiah. Justice for Josiah. Justice for Josiah. Justice for Josiah. Justice for Josiah.
We lost a student. We lost a student. We lost a friend. Miss Charmaine lost her son. Her children lost their brother. We have parents on this board. Where is your heart? Where is your soul? Act. Do what is right. Not allowing business to go on as usual. This is the #1 priority for the public. We want our safety. We want the ability to walk down our street knowing there are not murderers walking free when they have every reason to be in jail. There's nothing right about this situation. No.
Justice for Josiah.
Justice for Josiah!
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 Justice for Josiah. Justice for Josiah. Justice for Josiah.
I want to give the board a moment to speak. Is there anything you can say for yourselves? Why did you withhold public safety information? Why did you lie to the public saying that it wasn't available for the last 10 months? Please answer.
We will respond at the end of all public comments.
Justice for Josiah!
Justice for Josiah. Justice for Josiah. Justice for Josiah. Justice for Josiah. Justice
Arcata. I'd like to revise and extend my remarks at the previous council meeting last year. This year, it seems, residents of Plaza Point have had a little 20/20 hindsight, and with unanimous consent of the tenants at Plaza Point, we'd like to thank the Honorable Council Member Brett Watson for his participation in making Plaza Point and the just one dot of the home program a safe, inclusive living environment for everyone to enjoy safely and securely and a little serenity. Because of unanimous consent of Active Tenants Committee, we have placed on the bulletin board of Plaza Point a sign that says welcome. Safe, respectful behavior is required here, with the number of the Human Rights Commission placed there upon it, so that even this old blind man can see any act in our community of injustice, bigotry, bullying, intimidation, or harassment to save one from pursuing a simple human right, the pursuit of happiness, to collaborate together as neighbors. Josiah doesn't get that opportunity tonight. The question is, when a community sees something, isn't it a duty to say something, as is the motto of the Harmony Patrol? Without a civic duty of being the witness, there is only the mob rule. In closing, I just want to say, Honorable Mayor, that Billie Holiday had the only real definition of mob. It was called strange fruit. Listen to the music.
Thank you.
So I've been coming here almost every week, every month for over a couple of years. For the record, my name's Kelsey Reedy. I'm a graduate from HSU. I've been here in Humboldt for 10 years, and I'm now a county employee. And I'm here as a concerned citizen. I'm here as Charmaine's friend. And I'm here as a pissed off white ally who's trying really hard to make change in this community. But even when we have a room full of community members who are on the same page, you all do not have our backs. You have some of our backs, but not those that need it the most. Not the most vulnerable parts of our community. And I get that it's uncomfortable to become aware that you're utilizing your role to further white supremacy. It sucks, but you gotta do it. And that's the part of being an actual active ally and trying to make changes. We've come a long way. We got a statue down, sure, that's great, but let's actually change this system. This system that allows a murderer to be allowed to walk the streets when it is known he was the one who killed him. The jury said that. They all agreed. Yes, he was the one. So why is it that you all don't see it as your personal responsibility to do something about that? Yeah, there's a lawsuit going on, which means, sure, you might not be able to talk about it as freely in public as you want to or should. But it doesn't mean that you can't continue to do the work.
Could you please wrap up your comments?
There's a million things that you all can be doing right now. And I know that there's other county officials that are wanting to make a move in this, so how about you reach out to them and try and do some work together? You have a district attorney who not only allowed a case to go botched, but is not trying anything else, thinks that that's it, thinks that she tried. And for you all not to be calling her out on that means that we don't want to elect any of you. And so we're not okay with business as usual anymore. Yes, we've been continuing to show up, but we're gonna start to shut this shit down. People's lives are in danger. People are dying here. And that can't be the first thing on the agenda, or even on the agenda at all.
It's not just the state of California, it's not just Humboldt County. The world is watching now.
It's time for you all to say his name. Josiah Lawson.
DJ. Justice for Josiah. 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 Justice for Josiah.
We won't be silent. And we won't allow you to be silent longer.
Rosemary Grady. I am here in support of my community. I'd also like to acknowledge we are on Weot land. I'm here for David Josiah Lawson. I'm here for my whole family, for my life, for my friends, for my community. I do not feel safe with you as our mayor, as a person of color, as a woman, as a Puerto Rican, Black, Mexican, student of color, working class. I do not feel comfortable. I do not feel safe in this community, especially as Michael Winkler sits in the mayor's seat. If the murderer, if his killer cannot be put behind bars, the city of Arcata, you need to be held responsible. It is ridiculous that the police would wait 20 minutes to call the fucking paramedics so that DJ bled out. It's ridiculous. It's disgusting. The city of Arcata needs to be held responsible for that. That the police who showed up, the first people who showed up, didn't know how to take care, didn't know how to organize themselves, didn't know what to do correctly so that David could have lived, because he was 5 minutes away from the hospital. Something could have been done, and nothing was done, and nothing continues to be done. And it's fucking disgusting. And I don't care if I'm cussing at you, it's fucking repulsive. And I do not feel safe. And I'm just gonna spend the last 20 seconds screaming at you, justice for Josiah.
Justice for Josiah. Justice for Josiah. Justice for Josiah. Justice for Josiah. Justice for Josiah.
A lot of things that have been said. We are on Weot land, and this is stolen land, and this arbitrary city council that's like sitting in these like raised seats is also happening on stolen land. And I just want to like acknowledge, since this happened like almost 3 years ago, how many people have shuffled through the system and how there's a lack of accountability. And it's like, it's funny, from like living in the Bay, like all the white liberals there, like try to be doing the most to be like, oh, you know, like we're really like on your side. And like, you know, like Karen Deemer's still sitting here and like still like lying to us about not having the reports. Like
you've probably lied on oath then, if like we like have put pressure to get the reports and then we've been told that the reports aren't there, like this is a hate crime that has happened on stolen land. To have somebody be tried and have it be self-defense when they stabbed somebody 6 times, if the tables were turned in the situation, this would not be the same outcome, this would not be the same case, it wouldn't have been tried the same way. So I need you white liberals to fucking step it up. I don't have any faith in your system because it means nothing to me, but if you want to have any credibility, then y'all need to fucking get your shit together, because this is not okay, especially as Michael Winkler is our mayor right now, and as echoing as my friends, like this is not cool. Like hate crimes happen all the time. Even out here at the stop sign, I saw a big white truck speed to try to hit this family of color, and that means that they feel safe enough running a stop sign in front of the police department because they know not shit will happen if they were to hit that family, because it's happened time and time again. It's happened with DJ, it happened with the kid walking up H Street. Where's the justice for people of color in Humboldt? Stop inviting and stop eradicating and doing genocide of indigenous people and then inviting people of color here if you're not gonna have a liberal white system to fucking support that. Do better. Where's the big brothers and sisters money to Justice for Josiah? I bet you Charmaine's raised more money for her fucking scholarship than any of y'all's fucking, like, how you call philanthropy is like doing for this place, okay? Like, I need you all to like put some action, because we're taking action because we're fed up and it's not okay. It's not okay. And I hope you guys can't sleep. I hope this Justice for Josiah like chant is like in your minds when you're sleeping, okay? Like this is life or death for people, and it's not even on your agenda. You don't even have time for it on your agenda.
You've already spoken. You can speak at the closing session.
You'll speak again.
This isn't business as usual. You guys can't keep skating on into 3 more years. 3 seats are gonna come up on city council. Look, if you guys represent us, like you represent us, are you taking, like, no.
I would like my mic to be.
I'm not controlling your mic.
Who is?
I do not know.
I want you to know you're only making this harder for yourself.
Kind of looks silly.
You look very silly in that seat. We're here to tell you, as your constituents, as the people who pay your checks, that we are asking you, we're telling you to do your job. Excuse me. We want you to do your job. And we're not going
All right.
anywhere.
I'm going to call a 5-minute break.